Welcome back to Derry Public Radio. Reporting from the basement of the Derry Civic Center, this is CM Alexander with the news. After years of false starts and heartbreak, Drew Larson has finally achieved what so many dream of. His debut novel, Bitter River, has captured critics, charmed readers, and placed him firmly among the authors to watch. For once, it seems everything has gone exactly as it should, and you'd be tempted to say the timing was just right. You're listening to Derry Public Radio. This is Derry Public Radio. Welcome back to Derry Public Radio, bi-weekly Stephen King Book Club podcast. I'm one of your hosts, CM Alexander, alongside Joshua Kahn.
Hey, everybody.
And Eve Gatto.
Hey, constant readers.
And today we are wrapping up our coverage of If It Bleeds, a Patreon selection by Ian Klink, and we are covering The Rat, and Josh is leading our discussion, so major spoilers ahead.
My first read, I'm just going to jump in right into this. My first read, back when I first read this, did not enjoy this story that much. My second time through reading it, because of the way we read things now for the show, I enjoyed it much more.
This is a fan favorite based on what I was
Really?
reading on Reddit. Yeah. People love that. They consider it a classic King story. Like, it's not original. It's recycling a lot of his ideas. Is what I read.
One thing.
But they liked that in this. It was like a throwback in If It Bleeds. So I think if I could see that working for people if that's what they were digging, but I could also see it not feeling fresh enough to be as exciting as the other ones in this.
It's structurally very good, I think. It moves at a good clip, but what you just said was my biggest concern is the sheer amount of just recycling of ideas, which I feel like modern King, we've touched on that a lot. But overall, I think this was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead.
So let's get into our protagonist, Drew Larson. He is a college professor who is on a sabbatical year, and he is a writer of short fiction and short fiction only. He is most notable for a story called Skipjack that was published in the New Yorker 20 years ago, which got him the job, basically. His last story was published 3 years ago, and he's had about 4 or 5 since, which each one taking months of work. So I want to ask...
Completely reasonable as far as I know about writing.
Which leads me to ask, what is your relationship to writing, both of you?
Interesting that we've never talked about this.
I know!
My answer is going to be surprisingly stupid. Well, maybe not surprisingly if you've listened to the podcast before.
Just stupid.
So I've always been like interested in writing, and I just don't have the like most things, the dedication to stick with it. And once something takes research, I'm out. But what I love to do is write nonsense. I consider them just writing exercises, like taking a dumb idea for a joke I had and writing a couple pages. Just like, for example, if there's a book I really love, writing an alternate ending is a really fun way to spend an afternoon.
I would love if you would do that for us sometime. It'd be great to have an example.
I'll think about it. A lot of people post them online. You can find them anyway. But also, as an example of my style of writing, the most proud I am of anything I have ever written was back when you and I, Josh, a million years ago, did comedy together. And I tried stand-up comedy for a while, and it was just, it took too much effort. And at a certain point, a friend of ours decided to do a stand-up comedy show at a Comic-Con. And it was all going to be, she wanted everyone's sets to be nerd pop culture themed. And I didn't feel like writing jokes. So what I did was write a 6-page long, horrifically filthy erotic fan fiction about the X-Men.
It's so good.
In which Rogue and Jean Grey have sex so hard they destroy the universe.
Is Gambit in it?
Yes.
Gambit, absolutely.
Oh
okay.
boy, Gambit's in it.
Let me see. It was one of my favorite parts is a throwaway joke about Rogue giving Gambit a hand job, absorbing his powers and making his dick grow purple.
Do I have to cut this out?
And I believe the line was, "Mamma mia, I'm gonna explode,"
Yes.
Gambit said in his goofy swamp accent before his dick and balls literally exploded.
Wait, why is he Italian?
Because I'm hilarious. That's why.
Mamma mia. That would be
It's the
I love it.
subversion of accent expectations.
Anyway, so that's my. If I'm going to write
also
something,
my favorite thing you've ever read.
Thank you.
Written.
It's my brain doesn't work well enough to write a cogent story, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
Sam?
my story is not going to be very entertaining at all. I have had story ideas. I've had maybe I'd call it a passing interest in writing stories, but I've never written a story. I've written poetry and songs, and I feel like writing music is, I know it's not the same. It's adjacent in a lot of ways, and how to structure the sections and everything, there's a lot of similarities with that in writing a book, I feel. So that's about the maximum of my experience, but I will say I did relate to some of Drew's experiences because Giallo's, the band that Devin and I are in, has been working on a song for a very long time, and we have rewritten parts of it as as things evolve, and you're like, is that still satisfying, or does that do what I want it to do? Is it important to the song? And then if you can't say yes, you challenge yourself to make something that you can say yes to.
I love
Sometimes it takes so long though. Oh my God. Especially when you have other jobs. It's stupid.
Right.
Well, I was going to ask you, CM, because you are in academia. I was going to ask whether you're
write so
academic
much.
writing.
Yeah, I was just thinking of, I'm so sorry.
If any of that is fulfills any of the creative juices, or because it's academia, if it's less so.
I think it does, because for writing like this, the purpose is to reach an audience and tell them something that is important or meaningful or useful. And I think that there's a certain amount of passion that you have to put into that to make the reading not just informative or interesting, but engaging. I still think there's room for that. And not all people who publish articles will write that way. There's some very strict rules on the legal field. That language is very specific.
Okay.
But I think too, especially in the field I'm in, you can have just a little bit more, more creative flair in your writing style. And I've had to write so many damn pages.
What's the longest paper you've ever written?
So far, only 30 pages. But the
Jesus.
dissertation, I read a dissertation that was 250 pages.
No.
God, my
just-
erotic
yeah.
fan fiction was so much shorter than that.
In my first master's, I counted the pages that I also read out loud to Devin, to catch flow and stuff, which is a very great strategy, everybody, if you haven't tried that. And I counted all the pages because I'm first of all, how many have I written between all my assignments, and how many of you had to listen to? So altogether, it was a little over 500. Just for that degree.
That's wild.
So wild, I forgot that I did that when I answered this question.
It's called a trauma response.
Yes.
You blacked it out to save your brain.
What about you, Josh?
I was a burlesque host for 10 years. And essentially the way I hosted was I would write a 2-person play. As both of you joined me as co-hosts
It
at
is
one
true.
time or another.
It was very fun, and also fulfilled one of my recurring nightmares that I've had for years.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, I've never told this on the podcast. years ago, you called me one day.
Yes.
And we're like, hey, my
it's-
co-host for the show this weekend had an emergency and had to drop out and isn't going to be able to make it. Would you like to fill in as my co-host? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. When is it? And you said, well, the show starts in 3 hours.
Doors are at 7.
Yeah, it's like 4:00.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, doors at 7, show at 8. If you can meet me there at 6, I'll give you the script.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a blast.
It was amazing.
I would have thrown up
a
the whole
literal
time.
nightmare I have had 4 years of being backstage at a show and everyone going, you go out in 10 minutes. You know your lines, right? And me saying, no, where's a script? I need a script. And now I know, pretty much stopped having those nightmares because now I know that in that case, I can do it.
That's amazing.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, it works.
That was a wild show.
It was a fun
I loved
one.
That.
Was that
was
the circus
Yeah.
circus one?
I still have that outfit. Anyway,
So script writing is
script
your
writing.
experience.
We're talking about a book, right?
I've written a few movie scripts. I've tried my hand at short fiction, and I find that I relate so hard to this Stephen King writer compared to some of the other ones because I have so many of the similar problems of getting hung up on word choice sometimes to a crippling extent, and then I lose momentum and stop.
Yeah, I have that thing that if I will write a page worth of stuff and then walk away and come back and read it and be like, this is the most amateurish shit that I've ever read, and delete it all. I just don't have that
The
thing.
secret is you do that. That is a very important step in writing, but instead of deleting it, you make it less, like your second revision of that is a little less amateurish. And then your third is a little less. Like I have lyrics that I've had, just like an ongoing list of lyrics on my phone I'm writing. And I'll go back and I'll be like, okay, hot topic called. They want their goth journal back. And I'll give it a little more thought and make them a little bit better. And then at some point I'm like, I'm happy with these.
I don't have that. I only have the shame. That's why I have to write the dumbest thing possible, because then I can go, yeah, it's dumb as fuck because I wanted it to be that way.
Ooh, listeners,
It's a good
send
secret.
us, email us your writing experiences and stories.
I'm so you're gonna email us your writing prompts and we'll all
We'll all write something.
Ooh.
Of all of your experiences with writer's block, the frustration that comes with the creative process, have either of you burned down your house?
No, but I've cried.
That's not the same.
I'm not a violent
Burning
person
down your
when I get
emotional
upset.
house.
Yeah. Burn down my emotional house, my mind palace.
Because we find out that is exactly what happens to Drew the last time he tried to write a novel.
Drew, I think, is a bit of a complicated character because this is so important to him, and right away we find out that there's some baggage here with this. He has a wife and two kids, and we get, you know what you said, that he burnt down his house last time because he gets such horrible writer's block that we'll find out exactly what that looks like for him, that he had I don't think he called it an anxiety.
he says it wasn't a nervous breakdown, but it
breakdown,
was.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was hospitalized and his wife stuck by him, but this is something that is the most important thing.
I like how this like beginning section with him talking to his wife about this idea, because he's out and about just roaming through town and he sees something and suddenly this story idea comes to him fully formed. He knows every aspect of what this story is and he thinks this could be good. And he gets so excited. And this I relate to.
That's how ideas happen. They just hit
Yeah.
you and you're like, ooh, yeah.
That would be cool. Oh, I'm going to sit and write it? Nothing. But he gets so excited. And this scene when he goes and talks to his wife, I love how it is written because she is supporting him. He comes home and says, she notices immediately. She's like, ooh, you had an idea.
You're either very sick or you had a good idea.
You are beaming. And he's,
Please tell me it's a short story.
And then, she's like, short story or novel? And he says novel. And it King doesn't he shows and doesn't tell. Like, he does a really good job of showing concern in the wife while not giving away the whole bag, you know?
And the reason I said it was complicated is because it'd be easy to read either of these characters a little bit uncharitably, but there's enough given that once this whole story unfolds, you could read her reactions to him as almost like poking at him or just being a little bit cruel, because she's very blunt about it, because he had a real severe issue, and she's a valid reason for her concern.
Which is what I think is really interesting about their relationship, is it feels so real because, yeah, you can read into that, but I feel like it is 100% reading into it in a way that might not really be there. It is just the way two people that have been together for a very long time
Are honest with each other.
and are honest. And there's
and it's not
so
cruel.
much.
But it's just like, we need to acknowledge this.
And there's so much context behind their relationship and all of that each thing that they say to each other, while not outright, like, she is supportive, and you can feel that. And even when she does get mad when he starts making
stupid
shithead decisions that are selfish, I don't know. It's all just very natural.
You
and
understand why both of them are reacting that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very nice to not think one of them's a monster.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to take a moment now, because we are going to spend a lot of this book talking about Bitter River. And instead of jumping back and forth to the story and this story, I'd just like to set aside this moment to talk about the story Bitter River.
Sure.
Who wants to take us through the eagle eye view of the plot?
As I remember it, Bitter River is the story. It is a Western, not my favorite genre.
Same.
Although when there's
unless it's mages.
Yeah, exactly. It's a genre where, as a whole, I'm not really super interested. But when someone does a good Western, it is riveting. Fucking Bone Tomahawk.
Oh
if
my
y'all
gosh,
haven't watched Bone Tomahawk.
So good.
So good. But anyway, it is a Western. And at the start of the Western, this young man, I'm not going to say any of their names because I do not remember.
Not important.
Not important. A young man in public, in broad daylight, blows a girl's brains out. And it is about the town sheriff trying to get this boy safely to the county seat while people are trying to hang him.
American Vampire.
Very
A little,
It was
yeah.
giving me those vibes, yeah.
He says that it's very plot heavy rather than character based. But as he writes it and as he fleshes it out, it becomes, while it is a plot driven story, it becomes more and more about the relationship between this sheriff and this young man who's done something terrible. And it ends, I assume, since you wanted to go through the whole story, we'll spoiler it. The ending of the book is this sheriff has done his job and is leaving town. He has decided being a sheriff is whatever, for whatever reason. He's retiring and he's leaving town. And there is a man with a rifle watching him, thinking, that is the man that hung my son. He's not the hangman, but without him, my son could have gone on to do good things.
Kill more women.
Yes, exactly. Like, how dare he? But he is the one that destroyed my son's life, not my son. Whatever. And it ends, he thinks, as he's writing it at first, about ending the story definitively.
Like he made his decision.
Yes.
Like not telling the reader what he did, but saying he'd made up his mind about it.
Yes. And so the story ends with him looking at this man through the sights of his rifle, but you do not know whether he takes the shot or not. And it ends the end.
He for sure takes the shot.
It's literally impossible to know. We have not read the story.
It is not, because it says like the name of the gun would become known as the gun that changed the West or something. It'd be wild if that was an unrelated story to this scenario.
Yeah, that's the only reason I thought he might have taken
though.
it, because it's like, what else would the gun have done then?
I have one reason to believe. Well, maybe it's because our writer is very enamored with the ambiguousness
Yeah.
of the ending. And personally, I love an ambiguous ending.
Oh yeah.
Feel like every time we read one, though, you guys are like, wanted more.
That's fair.
But wanting more is why I like it so much.
Well, then we need some more 5 blue chambray ratings here.
But I don't know. There's something that we are not going to get to until the end of our story that, I don't know, it's interesting about whether the ending is ambiguous or not, because I want to know whether you guys think that the ending of this story is ambiguous or not.
Interesting. Okay, we'll put a pin in it.
Before we move away from the story, can I share something about it that struck me that was shown through his writing process that I liked? It's I think it happens almost right away, and I can't remember the context, so if one of you do, feel free to jump in. But basically, he had initially either envisioned or written that the kid was holding a gun to the girl's temple.
Yeah.
And then something happened, and he changed it to under her chin.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's like that revision where you're like, oh, no, wait, yeah. If it's under the chin, it's upsetting.
I do know the context for why he changes that, but it has to do with something that happens later on.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to it. I did love that moment too. When he talks to Lucy, she asks
that's his wife.
Yeah. She basically asks him to sit on it for a minute, make sure it's real, make sure it doesn't go away like the other stories, because he keeps saying it'll be like dictation. That's how vivid all of this is.
Which is a pretty compelling argument to make. I think she's like, wait a week. Because I felt that as like, ooh, when you really want to do something and you have an idea, to wait a week to act on it would be really tough.
This goes back to what you said, Eve, about the give and take of the realness of this relationship, because right after we get the wait a week, and that seems a little unreasonable, it goes into that he has been in therapy and on medication for the year since.
See, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because in my head, that wait a week seemed entirely reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all, in this scene where they're talking about it, I think King does such a good job of not telling you why, but getting the feeling across that this guy's not great. He's not all there.
Yeah.
He is struggling with something real, and you feel that in the concern that his wife has for him, because we don't learn the extent of how bad the thing with his previous novel was. But we know that it is, like, her reaction in being so severe immediately made me go, oh, it was bad.
It was real
She
bad.
is very much acting reasonably in trying to dissuade him from separating himself from his family and his support system.
You can read this twice, and the first time you can kind of put yourself in his position and interpret their interactions a certain way. And then the second read, you can see it from her point of view, which is what I kind of did on accident.
Nice.
And it was just interesting to see all of that nuance of like, because I could feel his anxiety about that. But then I think even he, in his head, is like, yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Every step of the way.
She pushes back, he's like, oh, she's right.
Yeah. He recognizes that, like, it is the feeling for any of our listeners who deal with mental health issues of, like, if you have ever been in a really bad place and you get better and then things start kind of taking the nosedive again, it is very easy in that headspace to be like, but this is different. It won't get to where that was. I know better. And I know for myself, who has been on that roller coaster a lot of times, that's not really true. Is you can think that you can keep things under control, but if you are a person whose brain reacts to things in a certain way, you have to recognize that, and you have to know that when things start heading that way, you need your support system
Yes.
with you.
Same with addiction.
Yes, exactly.
Because you tell yourself, this is what my people who are in AA have told me, you think like, oh, now that I'm healthier, now that I know more, I understand more about the effects of alcohol, like truly on the brain and system, it'll be different this time. I can do it. I can just drink socially. But they also have to train themselves to recognize that thought is wrong.
Yes.
And rely, like you said, on the support system. So it's nice to see that Lucy was able to stand by him, because I think dealing with mental health yourself, or if someone you love has that, it's so difficult sometimes. And so that she could, their relationship must have been good enough that she could continue to find the strength to stick by him. So he knows like, oh, this person stood by me at my worst, and trusts that her perspective on things is healthy. And so it's cool to see both of them, giving to the relationship in an important way.
Until he, again, starts making selfish decisions and goes to a remote cabin in the woods to completely isolate himself and do an activity that in the past has caused him to almost burn his house down in a psychotic break,
but
basically.
It's different this time because he's only going for a few days to get a running start.
It's
Eve.
like taking dictation.
It's
Eve.
like taking dictation. It'll be different. I can fix it. Before he goes to this house this cabin that his father owned down a place lovingly called Shithouse Road, which lives up to its name, he goes and visits Al Stamper, who is his former department head. How do we feel about Al?
Oh, Al is described as somebody who thinks that he knows what everybody wants, and he's often right.
My note was, do you think Al shines a little? Like, that seems like one of those casual king things. The people who shine but don't even really know they shine. They just sense it.
He just seems like a super hyper competent guy who I can very much see, like, I would want this dude as my friend. He just seems smart and capable, like I said, and is just a good guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
He's
which
like
is
Lucy,
always,
because he's also very blunt with Drew and understands much of what he's been through and expresses his concerns too. He's also dying.
Yes.
All our Al's
which leads
just
to his
dying.
optimism. Yeah, right. The optimism with him, because he's lost a lot of weight. He reveals he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which is why he retired. But they caught it early. Confidence is high. And his confidence is going to be high until he has reason for it not to be.
Although Drew picks up on a word that he uses, and he said relatively early.
Yes.
Which will come into play later.
I did have an earworm at the name Al Stamper, trying to figure out where we'd heard it before. And I knew it was somewhere. Turns out, Revival. It is not this character. It is a jazz musician that is Jacob's assistant for a while that he'd cured of his cocaine addiction. But I had to thank you Reddit for solving that mystery for me, because I was so confused. All right, so before he heads out, they talk.
Oh, is he requesting sabbatical?
No, he's already on.
Oh, okay, that's right.
He's on his sabbatical from the breakdown still.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking that. I thought that was further in the past. I don't know why.
No, it was just last year.
Oh, Lucy should have been like, no, fucker, you're staying at home.
I didn't catch that either.
It seemed later.
No,
I guess I thought this
like,
meeting was him explaining why he's taking a leave of absence.
No, he's already done it and is going just to touch base with Al.
Oh, that really turns my opinion of a theory I had definitely into that.
Well, the discussion they have, Lucy and him talk around the novel, and Al brings it up, the village on the hill, which is apparently, I love Lucy's description, academics having key parties and midlife crises.
Yep.
Fucking great.
Sounds fascinating.
Right, what you know.
No, yeah. I thought that too.
Yeah?
I kept expecting it to be like, oh, he went nuts because he was writing this book that was too close to his own.
Or he did too much research to do it.
And then that never really comes to to fruition or anything.
It did give me a little bit of Shining vibes, though. There just being any sort
Yeah.
of contention with an academic in a spouse.
No, it's not the first. It's not the last aspect of The Shining in this story.
Mhm.
The isolation in a snowstorm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have a discussion about why he needs to finish the book, and we're not going to get to it right now because we're about to get to it for a second time immediately after. Because that night, after he wraps his conversation up with Al, he gets in bed with Lucy, and they have this conversation about why it's so important. And there's a moment that stood out to me, and it's towards the end. Lucy's asking him, why is it so important to you that you have to do this? And he says, with Al, I said closure because he could really understand what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that means, because it doesn't sound like he's insulting Lucy exactly. That sounds very condescending.
Because what word does he use with her?
He goes on to describe the almost physical feeling it takes, the physical compulsion to create, and that he needs to do it. And because she says, is it closure? And he says, no, it's about completion.
I see. It's interesting because I thought that almost seemed a little bit as like, is he insulting Al? Like you felt like he was almost insulting Lucy, but not. And I was like, is he like, what does that mean? Like, oh, Al would understand that word. But for Lucy, he gets to describe the much more complicated, the thing that's almost
More
impossible
intimate.
to describe. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they're, closer. So she will get that.
Yeah. It's okay. So I felt that way too. That seemed like
Okay,
the more
yeah.
intimate read. And that's why I was confused by that word choice, because it seemed a little insulting, but then it seemed more intimate and more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything that he says all kind of felt to me like a lot of extra words to say, I have to prove to myself that I'm not a complete failure.
Boom. There
He's
it is.
Basically, he kind of says that later when they
Mhm.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
too.
it's like
Yeah.
he has the classic King Writer character insecurity of, oh, I'm only a popular writer. And this one is, oh, I'm only a short story writer. Oh, I would hate to be in the league of world-class writers that only write short stories. Oh, what if I die and I'm only like Warren Ellison? That would be terrible. And it's like, shut up. But yeah, it's that like the novel is climbing a mountain. It is something that he, in his ego, needs to prove to himself that he can do. Even if I think he is completely sincere when he says, I don't care if it's sellable. I don't care if I finish
Agreed.
it and it sits in a box forever, which I do think is pretty noble. I respect that. But yeah, he does like kind of dance around the fact that it's like, I just need to wave my dick around and write a novel, okay?
Before they separate, before he leaves, it's this beautiful, picturesque October morning. And he's about to pull away. She comes running out, and he thinks about slamming on the gas, which was very funny to me. But she runs up to him, and she gives him the ground rules. It's, you're going to call me at least once a day. The landline works. I called and checked. Your dad's voice is still in the voicemail. Fix that because it's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And promise me you'll come back if you start to lose the words. And because that is...
We don't know what that means
Right,
yet,
yeah,
which
that's
cool.
the
Yeah.
drop of like, okay, we're getting some of that land and family secret language with a
Yeah.
writer kind of aspect.
But it doesn't sound silly.
Right. Suisa, baby love? They don't...
Booyah, Moon.
That's good.
And now this is the moment that I found was highly relatable to me. And it's that as he's driving away, he is excited to fully inhabit a work of art. Away from, like, that's part of the desire of the seclusion is the no distractions, to be fully with your art. And I had a similar experience when I did that movie Paper Plates 2 years ago. It was the first time I'd done a movie that I'd gotten paid well enough I could fully take off work. I didn't have extra duties besides being an actor. and just got to do my thing. And getting that week I spent making that movie, I was that hyped. I felt that so hard.
That's the feeling I have the entire run of any play.
Yes.
Is once you reach opening day, I am so stressed all the time, but especially when in the preparations of a play, all through rehearsal of every show I've ever been in, I am sitting in a corner, ignoring everyone, just like trying to absorb everything and remember every line and blocking. And it's hugely stressful. And then opening night comes in and it's like, oh, we're just doing this. And now it is purely the fun of performing.
Yeah.
It is being in the moment of being on stage, and whether you do it right or wrong, you're doing the thing. That is the feeling I can imagine him looking forward to.
Isn't it weird, though, that we make each other watch us do things we like to do? Like,
Not for me.
If I could convince you guys not to come to shows I do, I would.
yeah, I never want to tell anybody to come see my band play.
And the other thing is that never not come, because I actually love it and it makes me feel really happy.
I've never stopped getting people to come to things to see me.
That's all our personalities really shooting through here.
On his way out, Drew stops by the Big 90 General Store and meets Roy DeWitt, the son of the previous owner. There's a lot of generational jobs that come down this neck of the woods, it
He's a
turns
very
out.
Judd-sounding fella.
Yes, he is. It's a pleasant enough conversation. He says he's battling allergies. Turns out, we're going to find out later, not the case. But Drew, out of courtesy, shakes his snotty hand.
Snot rag hand.
and which he comes back to that decision many times for the rest of this book. What did you think of this stop at the Big 90? Because this is where we find out what happened to the previous caretaker.
It makes things seem like they're going to definitely get a little dark. Because
Yes.
we're already leaving on this trip we probably shouldn't be leaving for. It's caused everybody an instant, like, a red flag went up for everyone he told he was doing this. Who
Yes.
knows what happened to him? And now we find out that Bill, I think his name is Bill.
Yeah, old Bill.
I was like, I can't remember his last name because it's Bill. Old Bill. Old is his first name. He killed himself at Drew's dad's cabin. Not in the cabin, though, because he was a gentleman. He did it in his truck.
And that is what makes him change his story idea.
Yes.
Because the guy at this rest stop just offers the information that he put the gun in his mouth and the bullet came out the back of his head and shattered the glass behind him. And he thinks, that's good. I'm going to use that for my story. Is that a good idea? I'm not sure. And then thinks really hard about whether suicide has a place in his story.
Oh boy, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So from there, he gets to the cabin. We have a weird interaction with a mommy moose.
That is terrifying. Have you ever seen meese?
A flock of meese? No.
Not in person, but
Me
they
neither.
are
I've seen
too
videos
big.
though. Yeah, I was like, we saw a video of one, I think just destroying a car, like it was a fist
What?
just coming out of nowhere. They're way bigger than you think they are.
No way.
And they're mean.
No, like, I've been around horses enough to know that horses are bigger than you think they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And moose are bigger than
They're
horses.
bigger than horses?
By like a bunch.
Holy shit. I don't know how
A
big
horse
a moose
could
is.
ride a moose. I don't know if that's
I
true.
pay to see
I
that.
need to see it.
Send us the art, folks.
Yeah, no, this is real scary. And it's just this moment of him being confronted by nature. And I guess it's here to show us that, like, he's in danger,
Yeah, 'cause
metaphorically.
Lucy even tells him, she's like, if you're going to be secluded out here, what if something happens? And this will come up a lot, like these what ifs that are actually valid, and some of them do happen. And often having to remind him, like, okay, yeah, you don't give a shit if it happens to you, but what if that thing happens to your wife and kids? And he's like, oh, I wouldn't leave you alone if I didn't know you could handle stuff. It's like, dude, not the point.
Not the point. I did a small relatable fact to me. I once did a play where the character I played dies before the show starts. And it's because I get gored to death by a moose at my hunting cabin and I crawl into my cabin and die.
Oh, you of all people should know how dangerous moose are.
We didn't do that on set.
Oh.
Well, you didn't do your research.
That's true. That's true. The point of this scene, I felt, was a glimpse into his false equivalency that we get, because he has this moment of, I'm either going to get gored to death or do brilliant work. And I understand those aren't connected, but I just feel it.
Yeah, everything he sees, even if it is a clear sign of danger, is he's going to use to fuel why he should be here doing this.
Is it possible he's having a manic episode?
Oh, I think he's totally, like, he is, that kind of goes to my theory at the end, but yeah.
Yeah.
When he gets back in, he sees there's a message from Lucy. He gives her a call back. They chat, touch base. And after they get off the phone, he gets organized, ready to do this. And he reflects on the period of time before you start writing versus the time you start writing. Eve, how did you feel about that?
This made me think I was waiting for the other shoe to drop because he gets there and he has this long spiel about how the ritual is just as important as the writing. And he spends so much time getting his utensils all straightened and all of his paper exactly the way he likes it. And everything is how important it is that everything be just right. And I was waiting for him to sit down and then go, fuck, I got nothing. Because that's totally me when trying to do creative stuff. Is I love painting, just casually. I'm not good at it, but I love just sitting and spreading paint on a canvas. It's fun. But I have definitely had days where, like, I will get all my things and I'll arrange them all pretty and I'll get my coffee ready and I will be like, I am ready to be an artsy girly and it's going to be a good afternoon. And then I'll sit down and go, you know what? I actually don't want to do this. I think I'm actually going to go play video games and waste my day. So I was really expecting this to be like oh, this guy is...
like, he's not going to write a word here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he is convinced himself that this is this end-all, be-all idea, and then the insanity is that he actually can't write for shit. But luckily, he sits down, he actually cranks out, like, over 10 pages.
18 his first
That's crazy.
day, yeah.
The ritual works. Do you guys have a ritual? I
am a real slut for rituals. I love patterns. I like they when I did an improv show last night, I asked my wife what I was going to wear and she said, what you always wear when you do improv. And it's moments like that make me realize, oh yeah, I'm really attached to how I do some things. Yeah.
I have to do rituals to do my writing work for the PhD stuff, but I have specific lighting I turn on.
Nice.
And I light an incense.
Oh, I love that.
And turn on, specific music and just kind of try to create a vibe in the room. And it didn't always work. I had to do that every time I sat down to do the same thing, to like connect it to that. It's like, because I have sleep anxiety, I first did this to make a ritual to go to sleep. So my brain will eventually associate the actions I'm doing with sleeping. So it's like, oh, we must be getting tired because she's doing this, this, and this. So I tried that with having to sit at the computer for hours and hours and just laser focus. And it took a while, but it does help. Like when I read this, it's like, okay, he's got like legit, like he's serious.
I love ritual as well, especially like morning ritual is really good for me. Is waking up, get the coffee, and take so much time to meditate or whatever. Unfortunately, I also have ADHD, and setting rituals for myself is nearly impossible. So when I am at my mental best, yes, I will have rituals for things. But most of the time, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, ADHD makes that
just get through the day.
hard.
Who cares?
He sits down and as we said, that first day, he writes 18 pages. And over the next 3 days, pages just keep pouring out, and it's just incredible process.
And they're good, he thinks. Yeah.
He says that at the end of the day, he rereads pages and marks them up with a pen, and he knows there will be things, but they'll be minimal. He can feel that. But it's at the end of this third day that he starts to sneeze. And that's where we start getting our first turn.
I think this sneeze is the camel that broke the straw's back. Is what I said. Is the catalyst of the breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's already started lying to his wife, though.
This is
point.
where he lies to his wife.
Is this?
Yeah.
Okay. Because as they're having conversations, she starts being a little worried, and there's a storm coming, and he starts, like, I felt it was very early on that he's just not lying, but lying by not admitting to her that he is also having doubts.
Or he lies about something that he then does later. So
Right,
it's
to then make it not a lie.
Yeah, because it's basic, like, do you have supplies? Are you considering if this is a good idea?
And he's like, yeah, I'll definitely go to that store that's an hour and a half away. And no, I'm going to go to the general store that's...
Which, yeah, I mean... just for the sake of simplicity, people lie to each other in ways like that.
Yes. But he remembers when he gets off the phone, he realizes that he's lied to her. And this is the first time he's lied to her since the village.
So in this instance, this is actually a red flag.
Yes. Yeah. And he knows he's getting sick, but he doesn't want to pull himself away from the work because the momentum has been unreal. And he's so afraid that anything will dam this flood up.
Which is why I think the sneeze does it. I think he's already on the path, and if he hadn't gotten sick and if nothing else crazy had happened and he just, I think he would have been okay, but I think he was teetering on the edge.
I see. I thought that comes at this next scene. He goes up to the general store expecting to see Roy. Roy's not there. Some girl that he imagines a very unkind life for.
Very judges a book by its cover.
Yeah. Turns out that's Roy's daughter. And she's covering the store today because Roy's in the hospital with pneumonia because he's had to be a man about it. And that phrase, had to be a man about it, really sticks.
I've done that because I've had to be a poor about it.
Yeah, felt that.
Yep, for sure. But he buys some Dr. King's cough and cold remedy and some headache powder.
Am I confusing this with something else? When he takes it, is he like, wow, that's just barely above straight alcohol?
Yeah. He's like, I read the bottle and it says it only has like 2% alcohol, but that has to be a lie. And that keeps him in the cabin because as the storm starts rolling in, he's like, okay, I'm sick as fuck, but what am I supposed to do? Drive through a storm while rolling on fucking straight alcohol cough syrup?
He basically waits too long and the situation changes. It's because the clerk is like, he's like, oh, I live by the water. I'm used to nor'easters. And she's like, it's not a nor'easter. It's
Another.
Yeah, it's a storm from Canada. And so his wife's pointing out too, like, what if you lose power? You lose heat. There are trees in the it's giving me the Mist vibes.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I'm imagining that kind of destruction from a storm.
It's more showing even more of this guy's ego because, like,
well, he's meant to do this, so nothing bad is
these
gonna happen.
women that are telling him, "Hey, you're being an idiot," and he's like, "No, I'm not. She doesn't know what she's talking about. It is a nor'easter. Like, it's not even a northern. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a man."
We're about to get to the...
He gets very upset when being called out for mansplaining things.
Yeah. When he gets home, there's a message from Lucy, who is a Weather Channel junkie and has heard about Pierre, this
junkie
storm.
Or just someone who watches the weather?
I was like, what the hell is his problem? Dude's problem with the Weather
Unless she's
Channel.
watching like Storm Chaser stuff all the time, which we all dabble. But
not me.
Nope,
tornadoes scare my shit out. I don't like
too.
that.
It's so great to watch them.
No.
They hurt my house.
That's true.
I can show you on the house where the tornado touched me.
Jeez.
But the conversation is essentially her saying it's going to be real bad. and explains all those things. You could get trapped, all the stuff, and he mansplains the difficulties that leaving would require. And Eve, what did you think of her undressing of him about mansplaining?
Totally fair.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's just this weird, at this point I'm definitely like, dude, just go home. Just go home. You've already written 50 pages at this point,
at least.
Like, what is the difference between going home now and going home in a few days?
That you can't is another red flag.
Yes.
But she eventually asks, I know it's important. Is it as important as me and the kids? And his response is, does it have to be a choice?
I think, to be fair, first he says, of course not. And then he says,
Yes.
does it have to be a choice?
That's true.
But also, to be fair, she's like, yeah, and you just made it.
That night, he gets high on cough medicine and dreams, very interestingly, I thought, about a hallway full of doors, unable to choose the right one. And just his problem manifesting.
Yeah.
The next morning, he's still sick, but he's still working. He still cranks out 10 pages,
And
which
he's
is still
doing
great.
good. He likes what he's pumping out.
But he starts to have trouble with phrases and right words here, and decides, I'm going to walk away, and checks out the Weather Channel, because the TV does work, even though he lied and said that it didn't.
And because it's okay for him to check the Weather Channel. But
Well, he needs to be informed.
sure.
Jeez. A man needs to know woman is a junkie.
A man just has to confirm what a woman said. And you have to pronounce woman like that when you say that.
Spell women with a Y. Thank you.
All right.
Jeez.
He sees that it could be a 3-day storm. Holy smokes. I should take this seriously. And they have another fight about him coming home. And it seems like he's gonna consider it, even though we know he definitely is not. About an hour into working, the trouble starts again. He's getting hung up on chairs.
I was sorry. Ooh, I don't want to be mean. I was a little bit like, you fucking wiener, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it was
It's
annoying, right? And I don't mean like
now,
writer's block is horrible. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be an ass.
No. Because on the one hand, I relate to this.
Yeah, same.
Because it's why I don't write stuff, is I'm a perfectionist. If it doesn't come out perfect the first time, I'm like, this is garbage. What are we doing here? But on the other hand, watching someone else do it is like just write chairs and come back later.
Yes!
Or they just need to hang out on a porch. Why do you need to say they brought chairs out? Just say they were on the porch and we'll assume.
Just say there's benches already on the porch.
Yeah.
I'm so relieved that you two feel this way, because I've been stressing out about like
this?
Am I just gonna hide how I feel about this? I understand.
You picked this to be coy
I
about?
thought I was an asshole.
No, I
Okay.
completely it's like, and also, well, the one thing that I will say, like, I understand CM, because it's not totally fair. This guy very clearly has some psychological issues that he is working through. Like, we don't know that this is part of this psychotic break that he has, or if it's a symptom, or if it's just a trigger or whatever. And that's totally fair to have that anxiety and whatever. But like, you're a writer. You are
how this works.
Literal professional published writer. Just move on. Just like put in some filler words and move on, and you'll come back to it.
Yeah, like you can research chandelier later.
Yeah.
I get so hung up on that shit though, and I will stop my progress for so. Mine is less about words and more about phrases. Because the next one he is.
Oh my god, this killed me.
Yeah, he's not exactly the brightest bulb, and immediately he's like, "Well, they don't have electricity. That's fucking stupid." And then. The book got me though, because he lands on the Jep was not exactly the smartest kid in the classroom, and he's like, hell yeah.
I was so mad. It got me too. I was like, you piece of shit.
And then later he rereads it and he's like, that's fucking dumb.
It's so much later though.
Yeah, it is.
That I really had to stop and be like, Oh, that on
It is
me.
pretty
Sorry. I had to
funny.
feel a little shamed.
So, and King is good at what he does.
Yeah,
he
this-
fucking got us. This is a moment where he finally accepts this is what happened with the village. Is it happening again? I'm losing the words.
Mhm.
And my question, it seems to be that it's not that he doesn't have the words, it's that he has too many words.
Mhm.
He doesn't have, it's that he doesn't have the tools to overcome these moments that are a roadblock to the thing he's trying to do.
It's described, and this is another one that I felt so relatable. He gets to this point where every word choice seems to have a better word right behind it. You just can't see it.
He's choking.
Yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, is that it? Am I a choke artist?
I don't know what
This
that
is about
means.
me.
I'm not a psychiatrist or a therapist or anything, but it seems almost like obsessive compulsive to a degree where he can't just good enough is not good enough.
He's
it is
fixating on there has to be a better
obsessing
word.
over every single word where that's just like not how language works
And
or needs to work.
Imagine how much harder that is because it was like taking dictation for so long. This has to be such a letdown.
It's like a loss
when
in
the first trouble.
confidence.
Well,
Yeah.
knowing that that's the thing that was like the sign of your previous breakdown would be terrifying. The moment that happened to you, you'd push that thought away so fast and hard, but you'd still think it's happening again.
And it doesn't start to happen really until he starts pushing away his support system.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because he has started lying and arguing with his wife, so he feels he can't go to her and be like, I'm really struggling with finding words,
Yeah.
so that she can go chill out. It's like,
so it
you
stays
got
this
this.
overwhelming huge thing in his brain
Mhm.
instead of something that, hey, you can manage it.
Yeah,
Maybe not by yourself,
He
though.
is, just like he has done physically, purposefully isolating himself to the point where this thing that should not be a life-ending ordeal is suddenly seeming that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he is doing shit like hovering a match over a pile of papers
Yeah.
in his living room in the middle of a storm.
That's fucking wild. He has a moment here where he lies to himself and considers going home, but then takes a big ol' rip off that bottle and goes to bed.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where by the time he wakes up, it's too late. The choice has been made for him. The storm has come, and he's here now. He calls Lucy. Lucy is pissed for all the right reasons.
Yeah, is this a conversation where she ends up hanging up on him? Or is that...
This is when the power goes out.
Mm.
Yeah. The last one, I think, was when she hung up.
Oh, yeah, because she's like, come home, and he's like, nah, and she's like, you idiot, click.
Look, as a man, I have to be here and do this. So yeah, the power goes out, and then he tells her, and she's like, get a lantern, get some, but gone.
Mhm.
Phone's gone. Now he is completely cut off. And it's not too long after that he hears a loud crash. A tree came down, a sound and feeling I'm quite familiar with. Fucking
Josh,
tornado.
sorry.
But
I really like there's just a bit of writing here that he's like so sick that he can like barely move, and he's like, I should just pass out, but I need to go see if that tree landed on my car. Need might not be the best word, because need implies that the knowledge you gain might help.
yeah, it's so
And
good.
that this will not help, knowing that I, one way or the other, whether my car has been crushed or not.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it pairs so well with a moment that's about to happen. He goes out, he gets soaked to the bone, running out to the shed, getting the lantern, getting back in, and he does all of those things that he needed to do. And then he said, now that he realizes, okay, I've done the things, I'm settled, now I have time to be afraid.
Mm.
And I thought that was just the need keeps the fear away.
Yeah.
As long as there's things I need to do, I don't have time to be scared.
Mm.
But you're right, he could absolutely die up here, and he starts to accept that as a possibility. He starts running through a bunch of metaphors here and yells at himself for it.
The audiobook.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really love the performance
So
this
good.
guy gives.
Hell yes.
Because especially once he starts losing the words and he is like this circular panic he starts having in his head about every word choice. The delivery, the performance of that mania is really, really well done.
Yeah, I loved the audio.
This was an easy one to
performance.
listen to.
Mm-hmm.
He lights a fire because the temperature is going to drop off the table, which was the thing that started this metaphor train. And he falls asleep in a chair in his soaking wet clothes, a totally healthy thing to do.
Ugh.
He is woken by a tree crashing, decides to get up and lock the door against the wind because he doesn't want that to happen with all the other shit that's gone down. And he's about to go to bed when he hears a scratching at his chamber door. He goes out thinking it's a branch, but what does he find?
He finds a rat.
Your favorite.
I know rats are so okay.
Rats
I'm not talking
are very
about like
cute.
city rats that'll kill people or so. I'm
What?
told. I'm talking
Yeah, with
about
their little
pet
mouths.
Yeah,
rats.
they mug you.
Pet-
Yeah.
Pet rats.
Yes.
And so I have had a pet rat, and
Aw.
anytime we read about rats, I can't help but picture that. So, but the rat is injured. He thinks that it was living in the tree that crashed, and it got hurt. And he's like, "Oh, dang it!" And he describes his little pink hands just
The one
clawing.
paw.
Yeah.
I love rats. I could never keep a rat because I've had too many friends that have rats and I know how short their lifespans are.
Yeah.
And that's heartbreaking.
Mhm.
But I love rats. And instantly when this guy does this, I'm like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Because he's staring at it and he's like, I can't help it. Yes, I can. And he goes to the fireplace and grabs something to bash its head in. But as he's looking at it, he thinks that when he found it, it was a he. And now that he's decided to kill it, it's an
I
it.
love that.
And it gives him pause. And he picks the rat up and brings him into the house. Kind of like the sheriff in his story who decides to save the boy who was going to be killed. But he decided... Anyway, and puts it by the hearth and is like, this is probably a mercy kit, just making him comfortable so he can die a natural death in the warmth at the very least. And then he goes and passes out in his wet clothes.
I couldn't kill an injured frog once.
Oh, I never could do that.
We had a moth in our kitchen, and I made Devin help me shoo it outside this morning.
I unless it is an unreasonable
If it's
thing
any
to
kind
do.
of peed, that fucker better get away. 'Cause those things scare the shit out of me.
I try to save as many
Yeah.
insects as I can. But sometimes you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
But
So he sleeps and dreams of the rat. He wakes up and the rat's gone. So back wasn't broken after all. Maybe it was just stunned. It's fine. Everything is fine. And he is about to settle back into sleep until he hears somebody go, Drew. And he looks up and the rat is sitting on the manuscript.
I had no idea this was going to be a sentient rat.
What a
story.
wild twist.
it's so funny. The performance made me laugh
Yeah.
really hard because, like, as Drew has been spiraling, the performance has become more and more manic. And when the rat talks, he's just like, Drew, hey, yeah, I'm a rat. I'm talking to you. It's so like even keeled and like affectless. It made me laugh a lot.
Who would like to take us through the conversation and Faustian bargain?
Yeah. This rat he finds sitting on the manuscript of his book. And he's like, I thought you talked. And the rat's like, yeah, no, I did. Hey, what's up? You want to make a deal?
Thanks for saving me.
Thanks for saving me. I can grant you a wish, which is very scary to me personally. I don't know about y'all. I think about genies a lot.
Wishmaster is
and
one of
like-
my favorite movies, so I'm with you. Yeah.
And like fairies and all of that
no,
stuff.
thank you. Ever.
And I spend a lot of time like thinking, if I ever get a genie, how am I going to word my wish perfectly?
Same. I do that so much.
I would never
Oh my
make
God.
a wish because I would either you can't. You guys don't.
I would
This
do
is
it.
Fine,
the
just get a
Micmac
lawyer.
burial ground all over again, except time the eve this time.
No, you just get a lawyer, you get a real
Yes.
solid contract.
Well, where are you going to
drawn
find
up.
a genie lawyer?
That's a good question. Wish for one.
You
Not
want
around
someone
here.
with experience.
First wish
for one.
genie lawyer.
But your bill's gonna be so high,
Oh my
you'll
God.
never be able to pay it.
Oh my goodness. I wish for a pro bono genie lawyer.
But I can grant you a wish specifically. If you would like to finish your story, I can grant you that. You will finish the story. Drew's immediately like, will it sell? He's like, I don't fucking know. That's not part of it.
But then he's like, based on what I know about your writing, you are a good writer.
Yeah.
So
You had a few hours while you were
Reasonable.
asleep. I skimmed. But I can make sure that you finish this book. But someone you know will die.
Someone you love.
Someone
Care
you will
about.
love.
Nope, it's
care about. Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Must
Yeah.
die. Which is this is just riding the bullet.
Well,
Oh,
and he's
and-
immediately like ahead of it, and he's like, "If it's my wife or kids, move on. Like it's not,
Not
worth
worth a
it."
book.
It's very much like I know this trope, my dude.
What's the one where the guy makes a deal with the devil?
Riding the bullet.
No, the other one. He's in the
Fair
shop.
Extension.
Fair Extension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This gave me because he's got the person he
Someone else will pay the price.
cares about
Mhm.
is Al.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like riding the bullet in that Drew is immediately like, well, he's dying anyway.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
like he's just like the main character in Riding the Bullet who said, well, it's my mom. She's had a long life.
And he
Yeah.
focuses on that word that Al used, which was relatively. They caught it
Mhm.
relatively early.
Yeah. So Drew, with very little convincing, is like, yeah, I'd do that. That's fair.
He's like, if this were real, I would.
Yeah. My book for Al's life. He's dying anyway. No worries. And this is where the rat-splains to Drew that he lacks selective perspective. He says that your ability to write is one thing, but it's not that you don't have the words, it's that you can't choose the right one.
Mhm.
You're like a car with a powerful engine but a busted transmission,
Oof.
which is is brutal. And when the deal is done, the rat eats an oyster cracker and vanishes into the fireplace, scampers off.
Do you think that makes Drew a bad writer?
Did he ask to make a wish on a rat?
No, that
Walt Disney did it.
just that he. Nice.
When you wish upon a
No,
rat.
I don't think you can. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Fair use, everyone.
It's parody.
No, that there is something about what would otherwise be this talent, this thing he could do, that is preventing him from doing that. Like, is that just a way to be bad at something? The things I fail at, I'm not good at, or I didn't try very hard. Is he a bad writer? Not like bad at writing good ideas, but executing it. Does that make him a bad writer?
Right. You're allowed to be bad at things you love doing, right? The karaoke was invented because I can't sing. I love people looking at me. And that's a great place to have that happen.
Okay, thanks for answering my question.
And also summarizing your entire personality more succinctly than I've ever heard. That's beautiful. That really gets to the heart of my dear friend Joshua Kahn.
What I mean is like being no shade to short fiction writers, because he was published in The New Yorker, which is, I assume, very hard to do. I don't know exactly how hard, but I know not everybody does it. That did happen 20 years ago. His biggest success, when he was at the peak of his ability, he was able to work through that broken transmission part of it, I think.
I guess
now it's settled in that he's bad because that's all he could do is that one.
I like where you're coming from with that. I guess my issue with this is you don't sacrifice your family to record a song you wrote in a studio.
True.
When you're just good at karaoke and you enjoy doing it, so you make it something you enjoy doing, and you don't there aren't high stakes on it. I guess
Yeah.
that's when I'm thinking like, oh, is he bad at this? I'm kind of including that inability to recognize like, this is just a pastime or hobby or thing I like to do. This isn't something I uproot my family for.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that is the case. Kind of going back to what he is willing to sacrifice. We know now he'd be willing to let someone die.
That's a pretty huge sacrifice.
It's a pretty desperate sacrifice.
The
And-
instant he found a justification for it, he was all over it.
Right, because it could accomplish the thing. And what Eve, you'd mentioned earlier, the insecurity, the imposter syndrome of writing, teaching writing, not being able to write the novel that you've been unable to do, I think would, if you're not a bad writer, would make you tell yourself you're a bad writer, I bet. So maybe yes on both fronts. I think also he's an okay writer. Maybe like just he's good.
Yeah.
But there you can be good without being exceptional. There's no reason. The way he compares himself to other authors is his problem.
Yeah, what he considers, being successful or being good at something is taking it through that whole process.
So Drew falls asleep again and wakes up in bed. No idea how he got there.
The rat tucked him in.
He wonders if it was all a dream, goes through the cabin, finds a toy stuffed rat that somebody had left because they rent the cabin out occasionally. That explains everything. The storm lasts for 4 days instead of the predicted 3, but Drew writes throughout the whole way until I do like the way this is described, like the sun breaking across his page. And that's when he realized the storm's over and he goes out. Here's someone with a chainsaw, so there's humanity out there.
Yeah, they start to get closer and closer to him.
The way he describes like the hunger for seeing another person once he does it is great. So who do we meet?
Hold on. Thought.
Yeah.
Is this how The Shining would have ended if he had not brought Danny and Wendy?
Whoa. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
he just would have been miserable and scared for a winter and then gotten out and been like, oh, wow, I missed people. I should get my shit together.
But this guy got this far in 4 days. He would have been up there for how long? He's he get there? 3
That's
months?
fair, yeah.
Interesting, though. I like
That is
another
that's
Shining
interesting.
connection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he, who do we find out is the operator of this chainsaw making its way towards him?
It's the man from the...
It's old Bill's son. That's
Okay,
the
yeah.
generational jobs. Because he's not actually the caretaker like his dad was, but he finds out that Lucy still had Bill's number and called. So he's like, your wife called my mom and she was worried about you, so she asked me to come out.
Lucy fucking rules.
Lucy's
She's
the
already
shit.
like, she knew, oh, maybe Drew, I owe Drew an apology. Only a true weather junkie would understand that there'd be fallen trees out in the woods.
Yep. Weather Channel did it again.
Yeah, so she thought ahead and she sent somebody out to cut the trees out of the way so he can come home.
Yeah, because he finds out he only has a regular saw and not a chainsaw. He finds out that Roy DeWitt passed away during the storm, and they convoy their way up to the Big 90 so he can call home. He didn't bring some of his stuff. He basically left everything except the manuscript. And
He forgot his watch.
Yep.
Was it his dad's? No,
No.
just his watch.
But he's like, look, he could stay there till next year. I'm
Yeah.
going home. And he gets home and gets back to work, and the words are still there. And he's so relieved. But despite that relief, he really needs to know if anybody's heard anything about Al lately.
Yeah, he is very anxious about how Al's doing. And the agreement was that he would finish his book and then Al would die.
And then he's like, will he be able to read it? And he's like, I don't know, man.
Okay,
I'm a rat. How the fuck should I know?
That pissed me off. It's like, you just gave away this guy's life and all you care about is, will he get to read my book? Fuck you, Drew.
Look,
Fuck you.
In the world where I trade someone's life for
Don't
a
finish this
project,
sentence.
I want them to see it.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
That's what they're saying to you.
Yes. I got to be a part of this.
Read my book. It's dedicated to you. Why is it in memoriam? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Wow, is that like a cool prank to dude.
Yes.
I one of my favorite jokes to make is naming things memorials to things that are not dead. In college, me and my friends had I shouldn't say this out loud because it's just a guy we knew in high school's name, Memorial Bocce Ball Tournament, because we found one of his old T-ball trophies at a Goodwill.
Amazing.
And we bought it and used it as our trophy. And then it was his
funny.
memorial. And we're like, he died? No. We just have his trophy.
It's just in his memory.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's so good. But he gets so distracted that he has to call and find out for himself. Luckily, he's doing good. He just has this rat to contend with.
Okay, I love this. All the times that Drew hears the word rat is so perfect. This was my favorite part of the story, actually.
I honestly, at first, was like, this could be very silly. And I feel like in a different headspace, this would have annoyed me. But I did find this delightful.
Well, he didn't overdo it.
Yes.
Like the ones he chose were perfect. So what Al actually said is this rash because he's on very aggressive medication and it's giving him a rash. But Drew leaps. He's sitting down and he leaps to his feet and he's like, the what? And Al's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just this, he's touched.
Yeah,
that he's
thank
so
you for your concern.
alarmed for him. But yeah, rash, not rat.
I also I feel like this has happened in another book we covered where we got annoyed with constantly freaking out when it happens. So I do love that when it happens the third time, he's like, yeah, I didn't ask for a clarification. I knew what he said.
I do like that.
I'm just going to have to get used to this the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's like if the guy in the Telltale Heart eventually was like, God damn, that's loud. But whatever, I don't care.
But that beat is sick. So November comes. He approaches the end of the novel. And beginning of December, he finishes it, types the end, sends it off. Lucy loves it. She says, I was wrong. You were rat. Very fun.
That's my favorite one of them all, I think.
That was the point where I'm like, this is silly, but I like it.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's a little bit satisfying. Man, I'm going to sound like an asshole again because Drew should be able to enjoy this moment because they fought about this of Lucy saying
I love it.
And saying I was wrong, you were right, because that's a reversal of a conversation they had before where he's like, go ahead and say it, and she says, told you so. And he can't enjoy it because she's got his hand and is just congratulating him, and then when he hears that, it freaks him out.
Yeah.
I feel like it is a better way to do something that I know I definitely complained about at the end of Fair Extension. The main character justifying that the terrible thing he has done is good, actually, and he should have done that. This is him, this is his sign of guilt that he knows he did something bad, but riding the line between, he's not justifying it, that it's good. He's not letting it ruin his life. ? That'll
because
we'll
still
come
a
back
dream.
to that.
It's not real.
We'll come back to that in a few minutes. But it's a good way of showing that constant gnawing guilt that you just have to live with.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
He takes it to Al. Al reads it and shares that he is pretty much cancer-free. They've come just short of calling him a medical marvel, basically. He's not going to get too far ahead of himself because he's still got appointments every 3 months for 5 years, all that stuff. But, he's doing good. And he thinks it's great. Not wonderful, but it's great. His agent reads it, calls it Wonderbar. Sure.
The two little
It's very funny.
excerpts from his agent are so weird.
They're so silly.
Yeah.
It shows
So much personality in that.
My electronic slave bracelet.
Yeah.
That's how she signs off.
Yeah, it's so pointless to the story other than being like, wow, his agent is annoying.
It's a wacky one. Yeah.
It doesn't age well.
Yeah.
So she loves it, and she thinks it's so good, there could be an auction over it. And there is. On the Ides of March,
Oh, perfect.
where all good things happen.
I did not even catch that.
I was reading it and I came across it happened on March 15th, and I looked up at my wife and I said, "Babe, when's the Ides of March?" And she goes, "March?" Yeah, that's why I married you. Just straight faced. It was great. So yes, the auction is held and it sells for $350,000. He immediately thinks not as good as Dan Brown, because he's got to be negative somehow, I guess. But it's enough to put the kids through college, and that's a big win. The bad news is that later that day, Al and Nadine were on their way to a completely reschedulable appointment. Nothing dire, but it was bad weather conditions, and a semi hit them, sending them flying through the air. Ugh. So you know they had enough time to be afraid before they died.
Jeez, man.
I know, right? Like that was my first thought, was like that, just a little twist.
Ugh.
Couldn't have been out of nowhere and blissfully wiped off. Nope.
Rats.
How long have you been holding on to that?
It just happened.
That's really good. Good. Yeah, high five.
Thank you.
We find out that the book will come out in February of next year. So he vows at this point, I will do the edits, the press. I will do all of this because this book is going to be the next year of my life. But that's it. There's going to be no other book. We're going to move on. What did you think of his decision to decline speaking at Al's funeral? Because he's asked and says no.
I think it's understandable that he would say no, because he's worried that he's going to choke, basically, that he's not going to be able to pick the right words, and he's just going to start screaming incoherently about a rat. And I couldn't help but think of it from the other perspective, though, because you ask somebody to speak at your loved one's funeral, that's like a big deal, and it'd be hard to say no to that, because if somebody asks you that, it must mean something to them. So it was just hard to read him turn that down, even though I understood why he turned it down, because I think he would have choked.
And it hurts to know how much I feel like he would have loved to do that for Al.
But also, if you blamed yourself for that person's death, you would feel so gross saying anything.
That's a very good point.
It feels so insincere.
He has a moment at the funeral where he's looking in the rafters, half expecting to see a rat taking a victory lap. But
I don't think that rat gives a shit about you, man.
Well, and that's crazy, because the rat isn't here. The rat's in the cabin. So 5 months later, a detail I didn't catch until my third time reading the story, but he waits 5 months and comes up with this reasoning, like Lucy's going to take the kids to go do some activity. I'm going to take the copy edit, and I'm going to go up to the cabin.
He's going to check on the cleanup of the cabin and just make sure everything looks good, get his watch.
And say goodbye. He thinks that they should sell the cabin. They don't need to go back up there anymore. No reason to tread that ground. When he arrives, it looks great. He walks inside, and I like that it notes, like, with no self-consciousness, he walks to the chimney and just shouts up it for the rat to come down and talk. No response. So he does the next rational step. Searches the... Oh my God. Sorry, what'd you say, Sam? What?
Nothing. Go on.
Oh, okay. Goes through the toy box, finds the rat toy, yells at it, takes out from frustrations on the toy, lights it on fire in the sink, scoops it up, puts it in a bag, and throws it in the river. So it can never bother him again.
Until
that night, he wakes up, and the rat is on his chest.
That's so kind. The rat did not have to answer to him. Their deal was done.
I love that you're taking the side.
I'm taking the side of the rat.
I wanted to toss to you about something here, CM, because we've talked a lot on Mike about sleep paralysis. And there's this moment where he wakes up, the rat is on his chest, and he wants to grab it or hit it off of him, and he cannot move his arms. There's just no strength in them. And you have talked about that experience a little bit. When you read this, did that give you the feeling of this might still be a dream?
A little bit, yeah. Because I definitely grappled with, is this, because he was on the medication and he had a fever. So is this some sort of delirium, and then the guilt would explain all of the things that happened when he got home, and also was he having a mental breakdown from, that point that I feel like that we talked about that was that catalyst.
Would you like to take us through how Drew is lawyered by a rat?
This was upsetting because he's like, hey, Nadine, right? Yeah, I did it. Nadine wasn't part of the deal. This is bullshit. Al was going to die anyway. He had pancreatic cancer. And the rat's like, we never talked about that.
I don't remember cancer being mentioned.
Drew just made an assumption.
The response to Nadine wasn't part of it. She wasn't not part of it.
Yeah.
Boom, lawyered.
He could have crashed into a building and 5 people could have died.
Yeah. All of these things are on the table because you made a sloppy deal. The last bit before Drew yells at the rat, like, why would you do this to me? I saved your life. I brought you in. And he responds with, if I can paraphrase, you knew I was a rat when you brought me in. It's so shitty and I love it. And he says, like, why you've ruined this thing. All I wanted to do was write a book and now you've taken all the joy from it. Like, why would you do that? And the rat's like, well, you didn't finish it. I did.
Yeah.
And then pieces out.
Oh, and Drew tries to kill it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He goes to reach for it. He's going to squeeze its guts out of its butthole.
Finally move. I mean, yeah.
That's what he says.
I know.
But the rat gets away. He tells himself the next day, this was all a dream. Didn't happen. He collects his stuff and tells himself all the ways that he's going to live his life here going forward the best way he can. It is a dedication to doing his best, but it felt ambitionless.
That, and that the last line of the story is, it would all be all rats.
Yeah. It'll all be all right.
Which I want to hate and can't. But it goes into what I've been kind of hinting at. There's one line the rat says, and you mentioned it, Josh. I might be stretching. This might be nothing. I just want your opinion. Because I wonder how ambiguous this ending is. Did you all catch anything to think that maybe there's more to this?
No.
Because when he is yelling at this rat, we made this deal that Al would die and I would finish my story. And the rat says, but you didn't finish the story.
Oh.
Because he didn't. He thought about adding the ending on whether or not our main character dies, and he did not make a decision and left it ambiguous. At the end of this story, he is left saying, everything's great. Everything's going to be great forever. It's all rats. Leaving out the true ending of the story. Does our character survive or not? Is that anything?
I like that.
Is that anything?
I like that. It's a good point.
Do you think by survive, do you think he's completely broken?
We are left with a character who is, again, kind of lying to himself that everything is going to be all right. I think this is the thing that it is going to wear at him until.
Yeah, I thought, I said earlier, I was kind of going back and forth between, was this like a fever dream brought on by being sick and he was just hallucinating, or was he having another mental breakdown? And then just, I feel like all of the signs of that happening before this.
The fact that suicide is brought up so consistently throughout the story, and there is a bit that we didn't really talk about where we have this point where Drew is talking to Al about his story. It's when he gives him the story to read over and he says, this is really great. They're talking and he says something along the lines of theme. It doesn't hammer you over the head with it may be just a story, this happened, plot based, but in the background is this theming that doesn't hit you over the head, is subtle, lets you think about it. Suicide is constantly in the background of this story, and our character never we never hear his thoughts on it. It's
Yeah,
just
he never directly addresses it.
it is always just behind all of the other words.
Interesting.
I like that. I think
Yeah.
that could very easily be the theme.
So I don't know. It left me leaving the story with there's more. There is something that this character doesn't want to tell us, the same way he didn't want to tell his wife.
Yeah.
That's what it left me with.
What it left me with that I want to ask you both as artists, as creative people, I think the big question that this story brought to me is how much personal loss is worth artistic achievement.
For me, none. But I am completely ambitionless. So
Art hurts. Like sometimes you have to take yourself to dark places for art. And like there is, so like that's what I mean. The degrees of loss, not like, is it worth losing a loved one?
sure.
But is it worth the sleepless nights before opening night? Is that trade-off? How much of that is truly worth getting to achieve the artistic thing you want to create? How much would you give up to have your book?
It's a difficult decision to make because I personally have spent, this is a long time ago when I still believed I was going to be a professional improv comedian, where I convinced myself that all of the suffering I was doing was because I needed to become good at this thing I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that was true.
Mhm.
It was, I was suffering and didn't want to put in the work to not suffer and still do the thing that I want to do, which is completely possible because people do it all the time.
It's hard though.
Yeah.
It is hard. And there
And
are
sometimes
things
you don't know how to
and
do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, you and all of us have made sacrifices for this, but like there's a difference between like doing hard work on something you care about and like sacrifice. Does that make sense? Like it is a matter of degree, I guess, is
Mhm.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is like, sure, like do the hard thing. Absolutely do the hard thing. But when you reach the point when it is pushing your family away and doing actual harm to you and the people around you, you should probably reevaluate some stuff.
There's where it becomes unhealthy versus part of the process of doing something because not everything is easy to do.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah,
And that's why you need a Lucy in your life,
Mhm.
just
I mean,
someone
don't isolate.
right
Yeah.
because you one of the things that I related to Drew so heavily about is the intoxication of the brainstorming part of creativity.
Mhm.
I will get lost in brainstorming because it's the best part for
It's
me.
why I loved improv. Because
Yeah.
improv is 100% brainstorming.
Yeah.
And anything past that, I kind of lose interest.
So you guys, we're also lucky to have each other because I get lost in making the thing like happen, like putting it
Yeah.
all together and
You thrive in the polishing, the
Yeah, like,
making the final product.
editing, movies or
Yes.
editing
Yeah.
our show.
Yeah, but I think
Why,
you're
thank God for you every episode.
Yeah.
See
No
and for you
fucking
guys
joke.
with the brain thoughts.
CM, I love your brain thoughts.
they're all good.
Thanks.
They're all good.
Thanks.
It's the way ambition can become destructive. I think the way Eve you said it is exactly right. That's kind of where my line is once I'm hurting someone, the problem is it's hard to see that when you're in it. And so that's why you have to hope you have a Lucy or someone that is knows you well enough, trusts you well enough that's like, hey, I see.
Well, when you
need
have
to take a look.
a mindset like he has and like addicts, like we were talking about earlier, they don't understand that when they hurt themselves, they're hurting the people who care about them. So they
Yeah.
aren't just hurting themselves. So they are seeing their behavior as victimless. And I know not everybody's the same. This is just what my relative shared. And so they don't have that interest in not doing it because, well, why would that hurt or affect anybody else?
Mhm.
Sam, you want to kick us off with ratings?
Yeah, so I assume we're going to rate this story and then rate the book as a whole.
You assume correct.
Sweet. I was actually going to give this 3 out of 5 blue chambray shirts because weirdly, I wish I could say this in an eloquent way that makes me make sense, but I can't. So I'm just going to be concise. I was so annoyed by Drew at that part that we talked about that I was upset with the book because I felt uncomfortable.
Been there.
And so I was going to blame the book and give it 3 out of 5 blue chambray shirts. But that you two validated me by also being frustrated. So I know I'm not an asshole because all 3 of us can't be assholes.
No, that's impossible.
Don't think about that one. It'll fall apart.
Nope.
And so I'm going to give it very, fun and interesting to dive into. I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 blue chambray shirts.
Eve?
This was another one. I feel like this happens fairly regularly for me. Right before recording, I left my best friend's house and said I gotta go say nothing for an hour because it was well written, it was fine, but I had nothing really to say about it until, of course, starting to talk to you two. I feel like this is I can't rate the conversation we just had, but I really do feel like that.
That's part of it. I think it counts.
It does, because
Yeah.
I gained more insight after discussing it here.
Yeah.
And being able to flesh out the thoughts that I did have. As a short story, I think it's really well written. I think the characters feel very real, which is not always something that happens in King. It's kind of not a lot happens. I'm shocked we talked about it for an hour and a half.
Same.
But I really enjoyed how much I think I'm going to be thinking about this one for a while. Enough that I am giving it 4 out of 5 blue chambray shirts.
Nice. I love Devil's Bargain stuff. It's like they're one of my favorite things. I also really resonated with the type of writer's block. So this I got very introspective. This whole If It Bleeds has been a lot of stories that give me a lot of introspection, I guess. But yeah, I think you're right, Eve. It's if we were just to talk about what happens in it, this conversation could have been very, very short. But it's fun more to talk about what this has to say than what it is saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good. 4 out of 5 blue chambray shirts. So, CM, overall, If It Bleeds. You were about to go to the outro, weren't you?
I'm so not prepared. And I confirmed
You
that this was going to
asked me.
happen.
I was literally going to be like, real stupid. What was the first story in this book?
Mr. Harrigan.
Right.
Yes. Mr.
God, that was
Harrigan.
this book?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Harrigan's Phone,
That's
Life
wild.
of Chuck, If It Bleeds,
Yes.
and Rat.
Okay.
This collection of stories has an interesting theme throughout all of them. It made me think of different seasons because I feel like those 4 stories, even though the breathing method was kind of different than all of them, like share a vibe. They go together, and the differing themes in them is reflected by the title, which I sound stupid saying that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This one I felt like dealt more with what we think of as contemporary issues in a way that you don't get as directly with older King work. Like Holly, for example, and Drew, we are very intimate with characters who are just as complex and flawed as our Jack Torrances, our Lewis Creeds, our Desperation, our Regulators, like all those characters that we feel conflicted about. But this it reflects society's like willingness to be more open about mental health, basically. So now King, I feel like in these, I'm really seeing, current King is more grappling with these current mental health, concerns or issues, like good and bad. And I think that is really neat. So that's what I get, I think, from this collection as a whole. And I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 blue chambray shirts.
Perfect. Eve?
Oh, asterisk for you. You
I
didn't
was
read one of
just
them.
about to say DNF, I guess. Is that a first for the podcast? I just straight up didn't finish this book because, and I kind
You
of
mentioned
briefly
this.
mentioned it last episode. It was because the first third of Life of Chuck sent me into an existential crisis, and I just like couldn't deal. That said, excluding that part, because I won't hold that against the book, totally a me thing. I feel like if there's anything bridging all of the stories that I finished, is that they were pretty fine, maybe a little boring.
They were ordinary.
They're very human
Yeah.
stories, I feel like, positively and negatively.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, none of them really, as much as I enjoyed specifically Rat, none of them like completely jumped out at me, made me, as much as I love short stories and novellas, none of them grabbed me in a way that I'm going to go out and tell people, hey, you really need to read this one short story. But they were all fine. So we'll go with a solid 3 out of 5 blue chambray shirts. Asterisk DNF.
This is, I've thought about, CM, your rating of different seasons
Yeah.
a lot, because it finally makes sense to me in a way. Because overall, I two things. First, because the last novella collection we'd read was Full Dark, No Stars. Boy, howdy, I didn't realize how relieved I was that these weren't those.
Ooh,
You know, like
okay.
darkness
pretty
wise,
bleak
because that
book.
was
Yeah.
holy smokes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the tone difference. But it was nice to read novellas about people I liked.
Yeah.
While they were all good stories, Life of Chuck really hit me in just a way that it is my favorite novella, I think. And so the struggle is, I would normally say, because Life of Chuck alone, that is this book, give it 5 out of 5 blue chambray shirts. However, now you can buy The Life of Chuck as its own book because the movie came out. It's so tiny. I went to Barnes & Noble and I just put a bunch of our bookmarks in them. So you can just buy Life of Chuck. So you don't even need to buy If It Bleeds to get the story that I would demand people read. So overall, 3 out of 5 blue chambray shirts.
And that is it for this episode of Derry Public Radio. As always, thank you for listening. Join us for our next episode where we have a revisited.
Oh boy.
And I feel like this deserves a drum roll.
Out
of spite. We are going to be revisiting, listeners, the TV series Rose Red.
Oh, fuck you.
Wait, what?
Fuck you, Ian.
I thought we were doing Salem's Lot.
Eve,
That's later. That's next
Eve?
year.
I have a bone to pick with Eve, excuse me.
Hold on. What's
Because-
happening?
Oh, this is your
because
fault.
Ian already flew back. I can't fight with him. We're doing Rose Red as Ian's gift to you. This is your fault because you talked about it on one of our recent episodes.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I begged him not to, but I'm a sucker for that Patreon tier,
Yeah,
listeners. So if you want to
God.
torture us or make us happy,
It's my favorite way to be tortured.
I'm delighted.
Yeah, I can't wait.
so join us for that. It'll be awesome. For Joshua Kahn and Eve Gatto, I'm CM Alexander, reminding you, really, when you thought about it, everything was all right. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to If It Bleeds Part 4, Rat. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, let us know your thoughts on social media. You can search Derry Public Radio on your preferred platform. You can also send us an email at derrypublicradio@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. And you can chat with us between episodes on our Discord. The link for that is in the show notes. Don't forget to check out our Etsy store for merchandise, etsy.com/derrypublicradio, and our Patreon page for bonus episodes and live streams on our tiers and discount codes for merchandise and all kinds of perks depending on which tier you pick. That's patreon.com/derrypublicradio. And if you enjoyed this episode, but you're not ready to go to our Etsy store or sign up for our Patreon, that's okay. We just ask that you please tell your friends to listen. It helps us so much when you spread the word, and we really, really appreciate your guys' support. That's all for now, listeners. Goodbye.